Welcome to the Salty Seekers, where you can hang out with friends and talk about all areas of spirituality and the metaphysical, while knowing you don't have to be pure love and light to do it.
Hi, welcome back to the Salty Seekers. Today we're going to be talking about what happens when your family, your support group, or the people around you don't agree with your beliefs. So, Veronica, what have you run into as far as the kind of pushback or the judgment, the drama?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, my goodness. I think we probably all have, especially if you came from any kind of a traditional background or family or religion. Starting off on this spiritual path, you probably get some pushback or some judgment. I would say that I get more judgment these days than I did even in the beginning, at least from most people. Because a few of my kids have gone back to Christianity. And so now they want to scream loud and proud that everything I believe in is of the devil. And I think they show me less grace than anybody else ever in my family, ever. They were always fine, even when I expected them to not be fine. But how about you?
I'm one of those that have intentionally gone on my way to keep it not necessarily a secret, but I know certain people around me would react poorly. So
Hmm.
I've gone out of my way to really not talk to them about it. And so on that level, I haven't received too much pushback. Now, some of the people around me that I have talked to, or you can see they're skeptical.
Yeah.
There's one day I was having a conversation on the phone and witchcraft came up. And once the conversation was over, I immediately got, we're not going to have any witchcraft in this house. And I'm like, okay, I was just talking about it. Do you see me flying on a broom around here, doing spells or something?
Yeah. You can feel people's energy kind of clench up. I don't let it bother me. I try not to. But there are times where it does. It bothers me a great deal. I won't lie. It depends on the person. If I don't value your opinion, I don't really care.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a tough topic in the sense that if you do open to somebody, especially people around me, it's a Bible Belt, very churchy. And so
Mhm.
you'll talk to them about this belief. And of course, they're going to most times come at you with either silent skepticism, condemnation, or they might even go, "You're the devil."
Yeah.
And for me, the hardest part is to sit there and allow that without the counterattacks of, "Oh, you think that I'm looking at this crystal or, trying to send positive energy is weird, but consuming the flesh of a demigod provides eternal life is that's normal. It's
Yeah.
fine."
Totally
Like
normal.
basically, you're saying because of popularity, it makes it more real than anything I believe.
Mhm.
Like there's a billion of us, so that definitely means it's real. Well,
Right.
what 70 million people voted a certain way, and here we are. That doesn't.
I'm trying really hard to proceed with this topic without bashing another religion. Boy, do they make it hard. Boy, do they make it hard too. It's like I was just going to say there ain't no hate like Christian love. They just love to bash and judge. The thing is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do with it? Are you going to keep just living your life? Are you going to
Mhm.
care what they say? Yeah,
Set your
exactly.
boundary. No.
Set your boundary. That's one of the biggest things I wanted to talk about is setting the boundary. I had to set a boundary with somebody yesterday because they like to pull me into political discussions and they vote the opposite of me. And I'll just leave that there. And so they had texted me about something totally unrelated, but then they were just like, that's why I'm never going to vote Democrat and I'm never going to. And I'm like, all right, I got to go. They're like, I can't share my feelings. I'm like, not once you go there. You're not dragging me down because you don't agree with me politically or with my beliefs. I'm not participating. If you would like to have a normal, rational conversation, I'm here for it. But if that's what you're going to do, I love you. I'll talk to you later. I got to go. And I cut it off, quit responding. And so when you start this spiritual journey, you're going to notice, if you have not already, that you're going to meet some opposition, particularly with people who know you or have been close to you, whether that's family, friends, coworkers, whatever, because it's different for them. It's a change for them. Also, people love to lock you and freeze you at a moment in time. Like they know you at one moment in time and they're like, that's who she is, and you're never ever allowed to change. If so, it's like, "You've changed. You're different." And, well, you're supposed to. The other thing that I firmly believe is that so many people stay stuck in life, in ruts, in religions, in jobs, in relationships, because they are too afraid to move out of their comfort zone. And when they see somebody developing a whole new belief system and starting to live in their truth and live this brand new life, they kind of get a little jealous, even if they're not fully aware of it. Don't you think? What's your thought on that?
It is. They're very comfortable, and I understand that. It's easy to get locked in your comfort, to get locked into those routines. But yeah, part of that is they don't like the change. Who likes change? And so
Right.
they're gonna judge that. They're gonna hate on it, and that's just subconscious, perhaps conscience. I don't know. Yeah, it's they see a change. They don't like a change. It
Mhm.
ruffles their feathers.
Right. And so sometimes they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt and show you some grace. Excuse me. Did we cough at the same time?
That's right.
Twinnies.
She got me sick. Been sick all week.
Yeah, from 9 hours away. You're welcome.
It's that
That's,
witchcraft.
oh my God. Sometimes they'll show you grace. Sometimes they're going to judge you to your face, like you said, and be like, all right, you're of the devil. You're evil. Get out of my house. And sometimes they are going to just smile to your face and talk about you behind your back and be gossipy and just be ugly.
Completely cut you off. I had that experience with
That too.
somebody, yeah, somebody close to me. Essentially, it was on the political spectrum, but it moved into
Mhm.
religion. They were going on and on about the border and immigration, but there's the same person that would confront me about, I need to get right with Jesus or I'm going to go to hell and da 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 da. And so
Mhm.
when that person was going on about the border, I posted the passages talking about, treat the
Yeah.
immigrants as one of you because you yourself are, once an immigrant. And that person lost their mind, kicked me off all social media, and the contact has been scarce since then.
Peace.
So boundary set on its own.
Yeah.
How dare you use my beliefs against me?
Right. The thing is that, I mean, even when it's painful and even when it hurts, like if it's somebody you really cared about and they're not being very nice to you or they shun you, you have to develop a thick skin, and you just have to get into a mindset and an energetic space where I'm not going to let them pull me down. You have to have some confidence in your own beliefs and that you are standing in your truth. And you have to remind yourself that they are grown ass people. They are responsible for their own energy, their own decisions, their own belief systems. You're not responsible for them. It's not your job to manage their emotions or their fears or their feelings. And don't be willing to take that on. And even if they want you to change back and come back, I mean, that's certainly up to you if that's what you want to do. But if this is your truth and you want to keep going, you have to decide that your desire to live in your truth and to continue down this path and to develop new belief systems, that is more important to you than their desire for you to come back and to settle. I'd rather be uncomfortable.
In the middle of this, my humor takes off, but then he got really pushed back by a bubbled up thought. My first humorous thought was, you got to have the conviction of a Bigfoot witness. You're out there telling people you've seen this
Yeah.
and don't give a damn what they say.
Yeah.
Then immediately, we're the last episode we recorded, we were talking about this, and I got the thought of the feeling of someone that's really locked into, say, a church community or a family like that, and you're dependent on them, and how hard that can be, how hard the pushback can be. You're stuck, and I'm sitting there
Mhm.
thinking, wow, that's tough for someone like that, because that
Yeah.
is your backbone, that is your support group, and you're now bucking it.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially tough if you're a kid, if you're a teenager and you're discovering these new beliefs and everything, but you live in a religious household of some sort. You may have to, out of necessity, you may have to kind of live in the closet spiritually for a couple of years until you're an adult and you can go live your truth. But beyond that, yeah, I can imagine that that's tough, even if you're a person who depends on their spouse's income or depends on someone else to support you.
major identifier. Imagine you've been in the church 20 or 30 years. You're I don't know all the terms, a deacon, a bishop, or whatever,
Mhm.
and then one day you just start awakening and you start seeing things
Right.
different. It's like everything you've ever known is starting to tear down, and that's that the
Right.
dark night of the soul. Perhaps it can be scary. The people around you are looking at you funny, and
Mhm.
so yeah, that's interesting thoughts.
Yeah.
I wasn't so caught up in any of that, so I didn't have to shed any of that. Now I'm pondering people that do and have.
You have to have some place inside of you, somewhere that in some form has a very, "I don't care, fuck you" attitude, even if it's not angry or menacing.
And it may not be, that aggressive. It could just be
Right.
people, casting doubts on it. It's like, "Oh, I manifested this money or this great opportunity." It's like, "Really? That's probably gonna happen anyway." And so you'll get some of that. And then it's, the doubters, the disbelievers,
Yeah.
and these will be people close to you. And you have to look at that and be like, "Mm,
You know what helped me? And I didn't do this intentionally, it wasn't contrived, it's just how I naturally am, like, once I make a decision about something, I'm so confident about it usually, and so, like, once I decided that this was my new reality and things happened to convince me, I was ready to speak out loud about it, I was just so confident about it, I didn't go out there like, "Well, I think maybe
mm,
this might be true. I think they say these crystals might have some frequencies or powers, but like, I don't know. What do I know? Who knows? I was just like, look what I have learned. And let me tell you what's happened. And I was
okay."
just confident.
So you had the confidence of a 3-year-old in a Batman shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they can do anything.
And like when I would be telling people about something, I was speaking with such authority because I believed it. Like I said, it wasn't contrived. I believed this. And if they would come back with, well, I don't know. I don't think I believe that. And I'm like, well, that's okay. It's true whether you believe it or not. I mean, you have the right not to believe it. And they're like, you don't have any questions? I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I've experienced too much to not believe this. And I just spoke with such confidence and I stood in my convictions. And if they gave me pushback, I'm like, I'm not responsible for your disbelief. I'm not responsible for your belief. I'm not responsible for your feelings or your anger or your doubt. Those are all you things. I'd be happy to talk to you about these if you're sincerely curious about them, but I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to proselytize to you. I'm not going to try to convince you and witness to you and try to pull you in. I'm happy to share, but like what you believe is your business.
Yeah, I just don't talk to people. I don't want to deal with it. Maybe I should start talking more, but I've known the people around me, some of them would have an issue, some would just be like, I don't give a shit what you're doing, really." Or some would just shut down.
Well, what's funny is that I just assume that everybody knows my beliefs and what I do these days, but apparently not. Like the other day, my uncle had died and we all got together afterwards for dinner. And I was talking to a couple of my cousins, Jamie and Danny, and Jamie said something about, are you still doing something with like weren't you doing something with like a crystal or like and I just started laughing and I'm like and Dan goes, "You were doing something with a crystal? Like what are you doing with a crystal or like crystals or like what are you doing?" And I was like, "I have a YouTube." And they're like, "You do?" I'm like, "Yeah, for like 6 years now." And they're like, "Seriously?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they were just like, "Hmm." They didn't delve further. And then I was like, "Yeah, and I just started this podcast. It's called The Salty Seekers." And Dan was like, "It's called what now?" And I'm like, "The Salty Seekers." And he's like, "Seekers, like you're seeking." I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Salty?" I'm like, "Yeah, because I'm a salty bitch." And he goes, "Love it. It's perfect." But anyways, that just goes to show that, like, as loud and proud as I am about it, I think everybody knows, and, like, they still don't. So I don't know
Some
who
people
knows
don't
what.
care.
Some people don't
And,
care.
yeah, it's just indifference, they don't care one way or the other. It's like, you do you."
Yeah, people don't think about you as nearly as much as you think they think about you.
Mm.
That's the bottom line. They just don't. So live your truth because people are gonna judge you one way or the other. Like, you might as well be happy while they're judging you, right? Because if I went back and I lived in the church again, they would just judge me about how short my hair is my skirt long enough, or, God forbid I wear pants.
That's one of my,
Yeah.
close family members. You have to dress to the nines, and, you would tell her, "I don't think he actually cares. He just you're here. Cool."
See, our church wasn't super fancy, but like if you were a woman, you were not wearing pants. That's for certain. I showed up one time. I was helping on the church bus still. I got off work at 7:30 in the morning, had just worked all night long. It was a snow blizzard. I had to do like 10 miles an hour the whole way to the church. So, because the weather was so bad, I didn't go home first and changed. I thought it was more important to get to the church. So I went and I showed up in my scrubs. And I was told in no uncertain terms to go home. I was no longer welcome there that day. And I'm like, you would rather have no help with these kids than just have me here in my scrubs. And they're like, yeah, how dare you? And I'm like, oh my, all right, I'm going home, going to bed. Have fun.
Sounds like they're serving their ego more than anything else.
For sure. They're very legalistic. That's the problem. Yeah, my intention isn't to bash them. It's just to share my experiences and to say that you're going to get judged by people no matter what. So live your truth and stick to your guns for
Rep your
sure.
skin a little bit because sometimes they'll say stuff and it can hurt, but only
Yeah.
if you let it.
Yeah. Just like right now, I don't have confirmation of this. This is just my intuition and my gut instinct, have a little bit of a knowing about it. But I feel that this is one of the reasons I rarely get to see my granddaughters anymore. They don't get to come over much, is because I'm being judged for my beliefs, and like she doesn't want them in that evil house full of witchcraft. So I don't know that for sure. I'm guessing, but I think it's probably a valid guess. And that's hurtful. It's very hurtful. But I can't take responsibility for her decisions. My job on this planet is to live with authenticity and to stand in what I feel is true and right for me. And the chips have to fall where they will.
Weaponizing children definitely is shit-tastic.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that's important in any area of life too, to stand in your truth. Like that is your job here. That's where your power lies. That's where your magic is. It's in your authenticity, with your goofy laugh, with your silly sense of humor, with your political beliefs, with your talents. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever you were given that's innately yours, that fingerprint of God that's on you that makes you you. When you try to bend yourself to fit someone else's personality, oh, I want to be more like that, or I want to do things more like them, you skew yourself. And then I remember when I was first waking up, I was shown an image of a tapestry, and you're this golden thread going through it. And then every person you ever come in contact with in your whole life, grocery store, cashier, bag boy, librarian, neighbor, all the people are all a string in this tapestry, all woven in and crossing each other. And they're all supposed to intersect at just the right place. And when you bend your personality, it skews the experience that they were supposed to come and have of you. And it creates this knot, or this bend, this kink in the fabric of the tapestry. And then it forces all the other threads around it out of balance and skewed, because they have to then try to fit this new experience of you that they're supposed to have. So your job is just to be you in your truth.
I don't know how to even respond to that.
I know. It just is.
My I just when I interact with people, I try not to talk. It's like, "Hi, I see you. You're a person. I'm going this way."
Oh my gosh. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Last night when you and I were talking on the phone, we talked about this, about how I think that because it was part of my mission to teach other people, to start this YouTube to teach other people, even before I knew that was my mission, because I was supposed to speak my truth a little bit more out loud. It had always been put on my heart to not be quiet about it, to not hide it. And so I shared it with whoever was willing to listen. I mean, they probably thought I was crazy at the time, because I'm just like, yeah, I believe in aliens. Yes, I believe that I know some of them. Yes, I believe I've lived before, yada, yada, yada. Whereas now I've been brought on this kind of full circle moment And the messages that I've been getting from spirit are more of a, it's time to start moving a little bit more in silence. It's time to move more quietly and grow yourself without announcing to the world what you're doing. Because when you announce out loud what you're doing, you invite the stares, you invite the criticisms, whether you accept them or not, you invite them to come. And I'm being told it's time to move in silence. So we're going to see what happens with that. That had felt like it was coming for a long time. And then I got that specific message, and I'm like, I could feel that. So we'll see what happens. I think you are just the opposite. You've been moving in silence, and now you're getting a little bit more. Well, maybe I should be a little bit more vocal.
Still like to move in silence. It's my favorite mode.
Yeah. It's so foreign to me. I'm a very out loud, like, this is who I am kind of person. I don't hide things very well. I want to scream it from the rooftops and the mountaintops, and I want to show it off kind of person. Not in an ego way, but in a, look what I've done. This is so cool. Let me help you too. I
Oh,
want to
I'd love to
share it.
help tons of people, but I'm not gonna sit there and come this way. But if you ever, spot me and decide I need something, I will help.
Yeah. So do you think that you would be willing to live a little bit more out loud with your beliefs, these new beliefs?
Apparently, I'm recording it and putting it out there to strangers whoever wants to watch it. So yeah, I guess so.
Strangers don't necessarily count though, because the people that will be listening to this or watching this are strangers that agree with it for the most part, I'm assuming, anyways. I'm talking about the people who move in your normal life that don't know you're doing, they don't even know you're doing this, most of them probably.
Some of them I would. I mean, it depends on where they're at. We've talked about this the other day. Like I've had
Mhm,
several family members that have passed recently, and I've encountered them, whether it be dreams or meditation. And so there's
mhm,
a part of me that wants to go tell them they're fine. I don't know how they feel. They may feel that same thing with their beliefs in Christianity or whatever. But from my spiritual, I guess, gift perspective, I could go tell them, but then there's that whole side of how are they going to take this? Or one of my greater fears is if I open that door, it's like inviting a vampire in. You know the vampire rule. Once you invite them in, man, they're in.
mhm, mhm.
And so if you go tell them this, they're like, oh, you can do that. That's great. And then you just start getting random calls about shit. And I'm like, dude, I'm not a fortune teller. I can't control when I get stuff.
Right. A lot of people are like, "Ask Spomi about blah, blah, blah," and I'm like, Spomi will say, "I am not a party trick."
Yes. Oh, I have that all the time.
Yeah.
And, when you say it, I don't get it particularly from anywhere. That thought's always there. So it's probably
Mhm.
been dropped on me. We're not party tricks. We're
Right.
not party tricks. And
Mhm.
so I'm very, very aware of that.
Yeah. And they're not saying it in a mean way. It's just that's not their purpose. That's not what they're there for.
I'm over here like, turn the light off, turn the light on, do it again.
I'm always like, "I'm so comfortable. Can you guys hand me the remote?" I promise I won't freak out if it's floating through the air. Oh my God. So, when everything around you is going crazy and nobody seems to be on your side, nobody's agreeing with your beliefs, and most people don't have that dramatic of an experience, but some people do. So when that happens and it feels like your whole world is just turned upside down and you're losing everybody, you really just have to come back to center. You have to remember why you're doing what you're doing, why this is important. Go inside and get still and ground yourself and just know that whatever's coming is going to be okay. Didn't Hagrid say, whatever's coming will come and we'll face it when it does? Huh?
The only thing I remember, he said, "You're a wizard, Harry.
Oh, I think he did. Let's Google it.
You're
See.
a wizard, Harry."
Whatever is coming will come and we'll face it when it does. Hagrid. We're going to see. Yep. What's coming will come and we'll meet it when it does. Hagrid's comment from chapter 37 reflects the fact that wizards must simply wait for Voldemort to make his next move.
Didn't say it in an attempted accent, and I'm very disappointed. You're supposed to try the accent.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, if you feel like you're losing people, I mean you probably are. And you just have to be okay with that. And you have to know that there is a plan for you. Your job is to go touch some
Yeah, there you
grass,
go.
like get grounded. Huh?
As soon as he said that, a song kicked off in my head.
What was it?
You just have to, and then I started hearing wait for it," from Hamilton.
Ooh, don't get my brain started on Hamilton. Spomy, don't you dare.
Spell
I
me,
will
wait for it. It's a good one.
No,
Let her have it.
he'll get Hamilton going in my head.
It happened to me when I left my last job. I went up to see the corporate office, and when I left that day for the last time, as soon as I hit the exit and I was heading for my rental to go to the airport, I
Uh-huh.
started hearing George Washington's "Going Home."
Yeah, so just keep going and trust that there's a plan for you and that it's all going to be okay.
What you'll
Just keep
need
going.
will come. Just be patient.
Mhm.
It may not come in the way you expect it, so set no expectation, but what you need will arrive.
Well said. What else did we talk about last night?
Bigfoot versus Yeti.
I've been on this
Right.
topic. Oh my
I think that's
gosh.
about it. It just, kind of the round experience. Some people will have a few judges, some will have a whole community mad at you, depending on how deep you were in other things.
Mhm.
And I can only speak from my perspective of lightly being around the Christian church. So, you out there, if you've had this awakening and you're a part of, a Jewish community, an Islamic community, I mean, what was your experience like? How, I can only speak to the Southern Christians around me and how they behave. So I'm curious how the others behaved.
Mhm. I think if and I don't know this, I'm just guessing. I could be completely off base. But from what I know, my guess would be that the Jewish community in Judaism, they may be a bit more accepting of this. They might be a little bit more tolerant of this because they have slightly more open minds. Their job is to question. If you look at Jewish mysticism and the Kabbalah, there are some similarities. And I don't know. It's just, I don't know enough about it to speak on it, but my guess is that perhaps they were a bit more tolerant. And honestly, I don't think that a lot of this stuff is mutually exclusive. Like, I think that you can still be a Christian and believe a lot of the things that I believe. I do. I don't think that there's anything wrong with crystals or with having a little full moon ritual in order to take advantage of the energies of the moon. God made the moon. Why would your God make the moon with this force that it has and this pull and these energies unless he wanted us to work with it? You know what I mean? The only thing that I would say is incompatible is that I no longer believe that I believe in Jesus, but I don't believe Jesus is the one and only Son of God that came to die on the cross to save me from hell. I don't believe that anymore. So that's incompatible. But the rest of it, I don't think it is. I think you just have to open your mind. If you take nothing else away from this video, at the end of the day, your job is to live your truth, to stand in your truth, and to not care what anybody else thinks or says. You may lose relationships. We talked about that a few episodes ago in The Great Falling Away. We talked about that. I lost a relationship. I lost a couple friendships. Wouldn't say I lost family members, but they're distant now, so I'm assuming. I just have to be okay with that.
Sometimes they come back.
Sometimes they do. I talked about my friend who did come back. She was part of the group that in the church that did make fun of me, did judge me. They'd compare notes about what I just posted or what video I just made, and they'd go talk about me and about basically what a heathen I am now. And it doesn't bother me because I know what my truth is. I mean, it hurts anytime people talk about you, but not to the point that I let it affect me because I know that I'm a good person. I know that I have a good heart. I know that I try my best to act and move through this world with integrity and compassion. And everything that they're doing and the ways that they're behaving are showing that they're not. So that speaks to their character, not mine. Let them be. When they go low, we go high, right?
No, punch them.
I'm getting too old for that. Oh my gosh. But, at this point, there's nothing that anybody could do. They could have a gun to my head and say, you're going to die unless you renounce your beliefs. Shrug emoji.
Yep, that feels historical. Like those religions have done that before.
Hmm. Yeah. God only knows what's next on the bingo card in this country. If they start rounding up the quote witches and having repeats of history, who knows where I'll end up. But, I'm not going to fake it. I'm not going to renounce what I know as my truth. This video just it was way darker and heavier than I planned for it to be. It just took on a
I'm
life
still a
of its
ball of
own.
light.
We're all like, oh, they're burning the witches, even if you aren't one.
It's fine. I've always liked bonfires.
Name that quote. Do you know what song that's from?
Say it again.
They're burning all the witches, even if you aren't one.
Don't know it.
So light me up. Go ahead, baby, and light me up. I can't sing much more, or they're going to copyright this. It's Taylor Swift. I did something bad.
I know "Shake It Off." My daughter loves "Shake It Off."
I do too. I think the people that judge her on that song, or they're like, her music sounds corny. They don't listen to enough of her music to realize that that song was intentionally supposed to be kind of corny. And it was supposed to be like a parody of her being goofy, and I don't know.
She shouldn't care either way. I mean, they can not like it, not like it. You just look at him, "I'm rich as fuck, boy."
Exactly. I'm like, I don't think she does very much. I mean, I'm
A true entrepreneur, she could make "I love Taylor Swift" merch and, like from that Elvis movie where his manager made "I love Elvis" and "I hate Elvis" and was selling them both, man. Just get it
selling
on
them
both
both.
sides.
That's right. Absolutely.
I get paid
What
either way.
she could disappear and never do anything ever, ever, ever again, and she would
Mhm.
still die a very rich woman.
Well, yeah, she said.
Yeah. She's one of the best human beings on this planet. We are lucky to have her. Like we don't deserve dogs or Taylor Swift. She is such a beautiful human being inside and out, and she does so much to bless the people around her. I don't have enough good words to say about her. She's good people.
Forget our my state's other, contributor, Dolly Parton. My daughter got
Mhm.
books
Yeah.
forever. Didn't have to pay her
Yeah.
anything because of her.
Yeah. I signed Vera up for that. She got them until she turned 5, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another example of just good people. Just good, generous people,
And our theme
and
park's not bad either. It's like a hillbilly Disney World.
yeah. I haven't
The
been there,
rides
but
are
I've heard a lot
the
of good
rides are
things about
knockoff Disney. They really are.
it. Yeah, I haven't been there, but I've heard good things. Yeah, she's good people too. God, I love a good person.
It was I thought it was just really hot that day. I went in August, and I thought it was just really hot that day, and it was. What I didn't know is I had just now started showing symptoms of COVID. So I was running a gnarly fever, but I was like, "Man, it's hot as hell out here. Jesus. Give me another
You're
ice
running a
cream cone."
fever. You're
Yeah.
running a fever and spreading it everywhere.
Spreading the joy on the roller coasters.
Oh, yikes. This is why I never go anywhere. God forbid.
I
Oh,
didn't
man.
know. I knew when I got back to the cabin rental, you bought one of those tests and took it and like, well, shit.
Well, shit.
Are you making fun of my
Mm-mm-mm.
accent? This I feel
No, it
attacked.
was, oh
Now you
god, what's
listen
his
here. You're
name?
people from
No.
West Virginia, them damn hill countries, and you say
Oh my
crick.
god. Oh, okay, I have to Google. What is his name? Oh my god, I say his name all the time because I oh my gosh. He's one of my favorite people, and now words are hard today for me. Okay, hang on. Where he's like, "Well, shit. What are y'all doing? Screwing?" You know what I'm talking about? Oh, he died
The one from Will
recently.
and Grace.
Yeah, the little gray-haired guy.
Oh, I know. Every garbage can has a lid, that guy.
Yes. Leslie
I remember his
Jordan.
yeah, like,
Oh, God bless Leslie. We love Leslie. Where he's just like, well, shit. What are y'all doing? Screwing. Every garbage can has its lid.
mhm.
Oh, God love him. Rest in peace, Leslie Jordan.
Well, shit. What are y'all doing? Screwing? Well, I don't judge. To each his own. I guess every garbage can has its lid, but
As much as we got off track and we went down this like heavy rabbit hole,
Lighten it up.
when we landed out. Give us 5 seconds. We'll be goofing again. Anything to add?
No, contemplating what I'm gonna make for supper.
Oh, what are our choices?
I have a tenderloin in the refrigerator I can cook, but
Eh,
that
boring.
requires effort. After that, it's probably just a sandwich.
Oh, come on. There has to be something better.
It's one of those pick up groceries, and I don't feel like cooking anything.
I am the worst at this. The one time they were delivering my groceries at the same time Amazon was handing packages over the person's head, and DoorDash arrived at the same time to hand me food.
I don't
Oh
know.
my
I'll talk to you in
God,
there in
what
a
a
minute and
mess.
figure out what I'm going to eat.
And I'm judging you on that, and I have 0 plans for dinner, so I don't
It
know,
could
I
be a
was just
grilled cheese and soup night.
yes, grilled cheese and tomato soup. Do you know that I have learned that, like, over in Europe, that was a new concept, like, you fry your grilled cheese. They make things, like, called toasties, which are similar. They do it in the toaster, I guess, like, they toast the bread and then stick some cheese between it, so similar, but it doesn't have that buttery goodness from frying it in the pan, and they don't dip it in tomato soup.
I dip it in whatever soup. It could be tomato, chicken,
It
beef,
could be, but
whatever soup I got, I'm going to dunk it.
It could be, but, like, tomato's the best. Fred dips his in applesauce. I'm like, "I'm sorry you had a bad childhood, Fred." I mean, I can imagine it would taste okay, but, like, that's so weird. I have leftover Mexican in there I'll probably have. I would like to order some tacos.
Treat yourself.
Now I know I shouldn't because you are rotten, and anything that I should not do, you're like, "You should do that."
Really should do that. And treat yourself. Nothing makes leftover Mexican taste better than fresh tacos.
Mm. I mean, you're kind of selling me a little bit.
There you go. It's done.
Mhm. I'll let you go figure out your dinner.
It's going to be so subpar. Delicious.
If you stuck with us all the way till now, thank you. We appreciate you. Laughing because, like, yeah, we went on a tangent. We went low and then we went high. It's like a roller coaster, but we appreciate you. And we would appreciate if you would send us comments, show suggestions, and topics. If you have any advice or things that you'd like to add, leave it in a comment, send it in an email. Find us on Instagram, Salty Seekers Podcast on Instagram. And we will talk to you soon. You are loved. Bye.